After the crime was detected in the early hours of the morning, the principal of the hospital tries to pass this off as a suicide. That's the first aspect.
Yes.
What was the principal doing? Why did he not? One, why was this kind of inaction on the part first an attempt to pass this off as a suicide instead of a murder?
I'm sorry, Mother, that's not correct.
Not recording, not registering an FIR till late in the evening. The doctors are on protest. A group of persons, a mob assembles at the hospital. The hospital is invaded and the critical facilities are damaged in the morning or whenever the mob enters. What was the police doing? The reason why, I must make it clear, the reason why we decided to take suo motu cognizance, we are conscious of the fact that the High Court was entertaining a petition which was filed by the petitioners who are here before us, is because this is really now not just a matter relating to a particular murder which takes place in a hospital in Kolkata, which is horrific in the nature of the crime, but it raises systemic issues in regard to the safety of doctors.
Well, two more incidents, one in Bombay and one in Ahmedabad after Calcutta.
Let the Chief Justice, please.
Because this deals with the systemic issue of safety of doctors across India.
Yes.
There are a couple of things, Ms. Sybil, before we deal with the broader aspects of safety and what we propose to do, we'll tell you in a
I have something to assist on that, neutrally.
briefly on both aspects. First, on matters of safety, we are deeply concerned about the fact that there is a virtual absence of safe conditions of work for young doctors across the country, particularly in public hospitals. As we know, these are all young interns, they are residents, senior residents, doctors, and most importantly, women doctors.
Yes.
Who are subject to of graver dangers and vulnerability.
Yeah, vulnerable.
By virtue of the nature of their
Absolutely.
because of gender.
Working hours.
Just and working hours. Most of the young doctors have to put in somewhere
36 hours, Mother,
hours.
stretch.
We find that there are no duty rooms available, no separate restrooms or duty rooms available for men and women doctors, for the other nursing staff, for the paramedical staff who are also on duty. And therefore, we must evolve a national consensus to ensure that there must be a standard national protocol to ensure that safe conditions of work are provided. This is not a matter of providing protection either to women or protection to doctors in general. It's a matter of creating safe conditions of work so that they ultimately, what is equality under the Constitution all about? If women cannot go to a place of work and be safe, then we are denying them the basic conditions of equality. And therefore, we are entertaining this, and I'll very shortly share the way we want to proceed with this to ensure that ultimately, it's not that every time that there is a rape or murder that the conscience of the nation is awakened. We have to do something right here and now to ensure that these conditions of safety are maintained in terms of protocols which will not just be on paper, but protocols which will be enforced across India. Now, insofar as what happened in Kolkata is concerned, a couple of things from what we have. Of course, first, let me begin by saying that we are deeply concerned of the fact that the name of the deceased who was assaulted and murdered, the name has been published all over the media. Photographs have been published all over the media. Video clips, obviously, either before or after the postmortem, have been published,
Right.
Showing her body. After she was subjected to it, extremely concerning. We are the first to recognize the right to free speech, but there are well-settled parameters.
It is extremely painful. I agree entirely with you.
Which have been laid down in now the new criminal procedure code by judgments of our court in Nipun Saxena, that you will not publish the names of the survivors of sexual assault. In this case, the person
It's a criminal offense.
We have filed 50 FIRs on that count. 50 FIRs.
And it was circulated, nobody should publish.
Well, may I just
Identity.
inform your lordships, before the police reached, photos were taken and these were circulated. We didn't allow anything to happen. We cordoned off the area.
This is the way we provide dignity and
That's
respect
terrible.
the privacy
Terrible.
of an individual who has lost her life as a
Yeah.
young doctor.
Yes.
But apart from that, Ms. Isabel, I'm happy that you are here for the state of West Bengal. Couple of important, quite a few aspects of the
Sure.
way the matter proceeded. It appears that the crime was detected in the early hours of the morning.
Yes.
No, in the evening.
After the crime was detected in the early hours of the morning, the principal of the hospital tries to pass this off as a suicide.
Not true, not true, not
Her
true.
parents are not allowed to see the body. The parents are not allowed to see the body for almost.
No, Malad, this is, I'm sorry. Anyway, Malad, this is
Not
the
that
impression.
our
We'll have to-
investigation
we'll have
also
to,
corrupt.
we'll have to place the facts before your lordships. We have investigated that.
By the High Court.
This is not correct.
So
Let us read the order.
until late night, we find that no FIR was registered.
That's also not correct. Not correct.
What time was the FIR registered?
Malad, in fact, we did what is called, what we call a UD case, Malad.
UD case.
Unnatural death case registered,
Yes, unnatural death case.
registered
But
immediately.
that's right.
That's an FIR, Malad. That's an FIR.
Not the body is discovered.
UD case.
The FIR registered formally in the police.
Malad's inquest was done and then FIR registered immediately and the investigation started.
What time
It should have been done.
the FIR registered?
12, Malad. 12:30.
Does the FIR say that this is a case of a murder?
No,
Yes.
no, it
No, my lord. we have
unnatural
something
death.
else to say.
It was.
We have something.
Unnatural
else to
death.
say.
One second.
Inquest shows it's a case of murder,
One
Malad.
second.
Inquest shows it's a case of murder.
Inquest is done. The postmortem the autopsy is conducted.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, until the night, no FIR indicating that this is a clear case of a murder has been made out.
It has, Malad. I'm sorry. I'll place those facts before your lordship.
See the
It
order.
has been, Malad.
Lord, may I suggest?
From
my lord, may I
unnatural
suggest-
death, he registered the case
Lord,
for murder.
That,
We caught the victim. He is a civic worker, Malad. It's an individual act. I show all that to your lordship.
and that's the first aspect.
Yes.
What was the principal doing? Why did he not, why was this kind of inaction on the part first an attempt to pass this off as a suicide instead of a murder?
I'm sorry, Malad. That's not correct.
Not registering an FIR till late in the evening. Third, the body itself is handed over to the parents sometime in the evening for cremation. Fourth, and that's a matter of very serious concern. On the next day, the doctors, because they were all doctors working with her, the doctors are on protest. A group of persons, a mob assembles at the hospital. The hospital is invaded and the critical facilities are damaged in the morning or whenever the mob enters. What was the police doing?
Yes.
Not
Malad, we have videos for all. Malad, let me first of all state.
Surely, Mr. Sibal,
What-
the police,
Lord,
Malad,
a very serious offense has taken place. The crime scene is within the precincts of the hospital. Now, that is the first thing that the police have to do, namely to protect the crime scene. What are they doing?
Malad's-
Nothing.
They allow vandals to enter the hospital.
It's impossible that 7,000 people
First
can
of all,
gather without
of all-
the consent.
Please, one second.
Allow me.
Lord,
This is-
7,000 people
One
can
second.
never gather without knowledge or consent of the.
This is not an adversarial
It's
litigation.
not, therefore, let us not be in denial mode. One girl has lost life
One second.
by not only, my lord, a sexual pervert, he is an animal.
Sir,
After the principal resigns from this medical college,
He sent to another hospital.
he's appointed as a principal of another college.
He doesn't resign. But anyway, be that, Malad, let me first,
Conduct, at the least, his conduct is under scrutiny, and he's appointed as a principal somewhere else.
Lord,
this is all, we have a note
Lord,
on
yes.
all this
Lord,
misinformation.
it's not contradict each other. There is a high court
What
order.
is the reality? Just show it to you.
Let them file the report, not.
Well,
High Court.
just show it to
Matter
you.
tomorrow.
My lord.
Couple of things which we would like
Would be
to do.
there.
Well, let's make it very clear.
Yeah.
We would want the investigation has been handed over to the
CBI.
Bureau of Investigation.
Yes, done, yes,
We want CBI to file a status report before this court on Thursday.
correct.
We will take up the case on Thursday. We want CBI to apprise us on the status of the investigation.
Correct.
The investigation obviously must be at a very sensitive stage so that it's something which will be submitted to the court.
So for court's consumption, not allowed to make it public.
It's really an investigations update
Yes,
status
yes.
report which will be given to us on Thursday. We will consider the status report on Thursday morning and see
Fair
where
enough.
the investigation is proceeding. Today, what we intend to do is that today we intend to pass an order. What we have done is, and three of us, that's why we were in conversation with each other. We have discussed the pros and cons. We are setting up, under the authority of this court, a national task force. The national task force will consist of a diverse segment of doctors from different parts of the country. We want them to make us recommendations in regard to the modalities to be followed across India. We're not only talking of the Ajikar Medical College and Hospital, but modalities to be followed all over the country for ensuring safety at the workplace first and foremost, for which our young doctors, the middle-level doctors, the senior doctors are all today on protest and on strike. At the same time, we would, now that we are taking charge of these proceedings, we are appointing a national task force. It's our earnest request to doctors all over the country who have struck work. There are institutions where I know appointments are taken 2 years in advance. For instance, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Appointments are taken 2 years in advance. If patients lose their slot, they go back by another 2 years. So we would really earnestly appeal to all the doctors that we are here to ensure that their safety and protection is a matter of the highest national concern. And therefore, this is something which we would earnestly appeal to all the young doctors that this is something, please trust us. That's why we have not left it to just the High Court. The High Court, of course, consists of very seasoned judges. The Chief Justice was monitoring the investigation by the CBI, but we felt that this is now not a matter of a particular offense, however serious and horrendous the offense is, but something which affects the institution of healthcare pan-India. Therefore, the need for the Supreme
Mulaz,
Court.
we welcome this. I think this must be done, Mulaz. All of us must be very positive.
But, Lordships
But
may-
Mulaz, I have only one request. Mulaz, I have only one request. Yeah, sorry.
My lord, I need, my lord, 5 minutes on this, my lord.
That's what I said. Yes,
Who is the first informant? We were talking about the first information.
yes.
Who is that first informant? Can you name us, please?
Name him.
Who is the first informant
we
who
just-
lodged the FIR?
The one, I just find out, Mulaz.
And we would also like to know the time of the registration of the
The
FIR.
father of the victim.
Wait a minute, please don't
Please don't-
interfere.
yeah.
Don't interfere.
The
please.
first UD case was done by the police on its own.
So that is not an FIR. What is section 174 of the old CRPC today? Can anyone assist us, please?
Yes, what's?
So that's just a report.
Yes, to start the investigation.
But then who lodged the FIR?
183.
First, the father of the deceased.
Yes.
Then
And
the
then
vice
vice
principal of the
principal.
hospital. First, the father of the deceased and vice principal of the hospital.
No, there cannot be two FIRs.
No, but both complaints were sent to us.
No.
Both complaints sent to us.
Tell us whose complaint is treated as,
Father of the deceased.
this is registered at what time?
11:45 PM.
11:45?
PM.
And now,
Next day, next day.
Yes, yes.
The night. The night, Mulaz.
The night.
In the night. In the night, Mulaz. In the
now,
night.
when is the body, one second, when is the body handed over to the parents for cremation?
Mulaz, kindly have this
Could you
note
just tell
that I've
us,
given.
what
Just
time is the body handed over to the parents for cremation? 1 second.
Around 3:30.
8:30, 10.
No.
Therefore, one thing is very clear. The body is handed over to the parents for cremation at 8:30 PM. The FIR is registered at 11:45 PM. 3 hours and 15 minutes after the body is handed over to the parents for cremation.
They refused to file. Well, this is the problem. We handed it over. They filed the FIR. They made the complaint at 11:45. They say, we are in shock. Please do whatever you want to do. They wanted a postmortem. We did the postmortem. All is videographed. Everything is videographed.
The autopsy and the postmortem take place.
Between 1:45 to 4 PM.
Now, between 1:45 and 4 PM, the autopsy takes place, followed by the
My lord,
postmortem.
the autopsy took place at 6 o'clock, not at,
Fair enough. That's all right. We'll take it as one between 1 and 4 o'clock. It doesn't take place in 1 minute. It takes
That was when.
Videograph.
1 second. Don't keep on interrupting.
They wanted
So
a board, we
are
constituted a
proceeding-
board.
We are proceeding on the basis of Mr. Sibal's hypothesis that the autopsy and the postmortem take place between 1 and 4:45 in the afternoon. Now,
Lordship, there is-
notwithstanding this, clearly,
Lordship, there-
the autopsy would reveal that this is a case where a doctor has been murdered, where she has been murdered.
Yeah.
The FIR is registered at 11:45 in the night, Mr. Sibal.
Yeah,
And who was expected to
yeah.
Nobody in the hospital registers the FIR.
No.
The father registers the, what was the principal or the vice principal? What were the authorities of the hospital doing?
No, they wanted a board, we constituted a board. They wanted a magistrate, we got the
You don't
magistrate.
need
They realized
time
that
for
murder has
registration
been
of
the
FIR.
priority of
You don't need a medical
They
board
are-
for
they are-
registration of
Policy.
FIR.
We are
At
in
the
a very
moment,
big
at
policy.
the moment, Mellas, what are we considering? We are considering, Mellas, 2 or 3 things, as your lordship has put to
Have
me.
not done.
How did these photographs reach the social media?
That's
No, there-
But I'll mention all this, how did these photographs reach the media? We have nothing to do with it.
No, let
because
us
we
not
cordoned off
trivialize, my lord.
everything. People there took photographs, came in, took photographs and sent it. Number 2, Mellas, number 2, immediately, Mellas, immediately an unnatural death case, Mellas, was started and an investigation was started. Your lordships may be right, Mellas, why did it happen? But whatever the parents were doing, we were agreeing with that. We set up a board. We asked the magistrate to come, a judicial magistrate to be present. Everything was videographed. Everything was called.
Mr. Sibal, it is the
Application
obligation
was
of
made
the
before the Sialta
authorities
court.
of the hospital.
Yeah.
The parents are not present in the hospital when the murder takes place.
Yes.
It's the obligation of the authorities of the hospital to register an FIR the moment they
45 it was done. 45 done. The letter was sent.
11:45 in the
No,
night.
no, 245 letter was sent. Assistant superintendent sent a letter at 2:45 Mellas. It's not 11:30, at 2:45 itself, we'll set out all this, Mellas. It's better we set it.
What we,
let-
Mr.
Lordships may give me 5 minutes, my lord,
Yes.
to further, my lord, to assist your lordships. My lord, first of all, Lord, let us not trivialize on this side, my lord, we are dealing with one incident, but your lordships are rightly looking at a larger picture. But we are dealing with, my lord, a young doctor, not only raped by a sexual pervert or perverts, but who was an animal-like instinct, who had an animal-like instinct, the way, my lord, the body was handled. Thereafter, my lord, I don't wish, my lord, to make this a political issue. I would request the state also not to be in a denial mode. 3 hours of the patient, parents waiting, my lord, is something we can experience if we put ourselves in that position. Now, my lord, so far as the safety is concerned, my lord, one thing I must bring to your lordship's notice. My lord, the doctors are genuinely, my lord, have a grievance. They are, my lord, they've lost one of their colleagues, my lord, globally. But, my lord, out of, my lord, all states, 23 states have legislations dealing with, my lord, what is called for, my lord, Kerala, my lord, so-and-so Medicare service persons and medical service institutions, Prevention of Violence and Damage or Loss to the Property Act. There are, my lord, I'll give, my lord, the list of acts. My lord, this also the National Task Force, my lord, can
The punishment which is provided under.
it's
the
a cognizable, my lord, and
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
yes, my lord, it's cognizable, non-bailable, and punishment is 3 years. My lord, this is first. I'll, my lord, place it. The National Task Force, my lord, which our lordships contemplate, can, my lord, go into this, can even make suggestions, and it should be welcome, my lord. My lord, second thing, my lord, which is worrying us is this. My lord, even in a well-organized function, if we want the presence of 500 people in an auditorium, we all know we have to make efforts. 7,000 people at the middle of the night armed with lathis and hockeys, my lord, can never be without the knowledge, if not consent, of the police force. It's complete failure of law and order, my lord, in the entire state.
What time did the vandalization of the hospital take place?
My lord,
The midnight.
midnight, it's at midnight, my lord.
I thought my
7,000
learned
people-
friend, he doesn't want to politicize the matter, Mellas. Why is he saying all this?
Now,
Let's-
why this is, my lord, important.
We should be called upon. We'll tell you what happened.
Mr. Solicitor, what we'll do is that we'll.
One more aspect, one more aspect. Lord, and my lord, again, my learned friend may feel that this is, my lord, but this is directly related to the issue in question. Lord, the West Bengal has an in-charge DIG.
In charge?
In charge DIG, Director General of Police, who is already being charged and being considered by your lordships for having fabricated or otherwise dealt with the evidence in Sharda scam case. Your lordship's
Calcutta
direction
police
is
doesn't come under DGP.
Mr.
Calcutta police doesn't come under DGP. Why are you saying all this?
What this has to do
The
then.
This is
Director
Kolkata
General
Police.
of Police
This has nothing
is
to
an
do with
in-charge
What is all
DGP.
this?
Charge
Not let someone else be
Well,
the
this is
in-charge.
what is happening.
Let them choose, but not the man who is already
This
accused
is the
of
kind of
having.
misinformation we're having, Malak.
This is missing.
And
This is nothing to do, this is a
Nothing to do.
only a minute.
Malak, I have
Will
only
be a
one
minute.
small request.
Another minute.
What do you propose to do about the principal?
Whatever your lordship says, we'll do, Malak.
That is the constitution.
Malak, whatever your lordship says, we will do. There's no issue. SIT is constituted.
State, you must.
SIT is constituted, but whatever your lordships will say, we will do. We are not, Malak, this is not adversarial, as I said. Malak, just give me just 1 minute. I just handed over something to your lordship. Just have a look at it, Malak.
Depends on
Just
the.
give it to my lord. Three
Can I
copies
only
that I hand.
All right, Mr. Sibal, we'll just hear the solicitor for a minute. He just wants a minute.
All
and then
Lord, I just, Lord, I want this, Lord.
Your Lordship,
Lord,
may I
an
just submit?
in-charge DG who is already a tainted officer in an affidavit filed before this court should be replaced by any other in-charge DG of their choice.
Malak, just have this.
So another
We have
one.
we have set out what is in the media and we have set out the reality.
No, share it with
For-
all of us.
We will share it, don't worry.
No.
Kolkata police informed the family members that the present case was
They
a
are
case
in
of
a
suicide.
denial.
False.
No, another
False.
aspect.
At no
Lord,
time did
cast
the police give this
judgment.
information.
Presently, what we propose to do is this. We'll indicate what the broad parameters of our intervention in this matter consists of. We'll just pronounce it very shortly. For one thing, Mr. Sibal, we are very, very concerned. Let not the power of the state of West Bengal be unleashed on peaceful protesters.
I give to your,
Lord,
we have
why-
videos of
Protest
all that
is
happened.
unleashed.
People, whether they are doctors, civil society, lawyers, people who are protesting, so long as there's no act of destruction of.
We have videos. We agree,
Let there not be the power of the state unleashed. on
agree.
Peaceful protest.
Manoj, I agree, and that has not happened. 1 second. We have videos which we have placed, we will place before your lordship. And Manoj, what happens is political parties get into the act and this is what happens.
People who are taking to the media to communicate their views.
Yes.
Let us deal with them with a great deal of.
I agree, I
sympathy. It's a time of national catharsis.
Look at the girl, don't be in denial.
Manoj, now, for example, they say pelvic and collarbone was broken. False. Postmortem doesn't say that.
Lordship, state and the center, they'll keep arguing.
CBI,
Fair.
CBI is investigating it.
Yes.
We will ask for a report from the CBI. Now, what we propose to do
Just-
1 second.
Just one second.
This must stop. We are in charge of the proceeding. We have heard Mr. Solicitor. We have heard Mr. Sibal. If we start hearing all the interveners, there'll be no end to it.
Lordship,
Please have some patience. We are going to now tell you what we are proposing to do. We are not disposing of the case, but let's allow us to at least pronounce what we intend to do. All right.
No, this is the list of
okay.
acts.
Would your lordship just give us
On,
a minute?
on 9 August 2024, a 31-year-old postgraduate doctor at R.G. Kar Medical College Hospital, Kolkata, who was in a 36-hour duty shift, was raped and murdered inside the seminar room of the hospital. As horrific details have emerged in the course of media reportage, the brutality of the sexual assault and the nature of the crime have shocked the conscience of the nation. The name and graphic images of the deceased have been widely circulated on social media without regard to her privacy or dignity. Writ petitions were instituted before the Calcutta High Court seeking, among other things, a court-monitored investigation of the crime and the conduct of the hospital authorities, including the role of the principal of the medical college and other officials by a special team of investigating officers. It has been alleged that the parents of the deceased were initially informed that their daughter had committed suicide. They were permitted to see the dead body after several hours and a first information report in regard to the murder was registered belatedly by the police after several hours. By its order dated 13 August 2024, the High Court transferred the investigation to the Central Bureau of Investigation. Following the incident, agitations and protests were called by doctors' associations, student bodies, and civic groups across the country. On the eve of Independence Day, several areas in Kolkata saw protests spurred by the Reclaim the Knife campaign. At 12:30 a.m. on 15 August, when a protest was underway at the hospital, a large mob assembled at the premises of the R.G. Kar Medical College Hospital and vandalized the emergency ward and other departments of the hospital. Following the acts of wanton disruption and vandalism, the Indian Medical Association, a private and voluntary organization of doctors in India, called for a nationwide withdrawal of medical services except emergency services for 24 hours on 17 August 2024. In the aftermath of the brutal incident and the demonstrations which followed, the state government was expected to ensure the deployment of the state machinery to prevent a breach of law and order. It was all the more necessary to do so since investigation of the crime which took place in the precincts of the hospital was underway. We are unable to comprehend how the state was not prepared to deal with the incident of vandalization of the premises of the hospital. Nationwide protests following the brutal incident in R.G. Kar Medical College Hospital have brought the issue of the lack of institutional safety for doctors to the forefront. Medical associations have consistently raised issues of the lack of workplace safety in healthcare institutions. Medical professionals, in the performance of their duties, have been unfortunate targets of various forms of violence. Hospitals and medical care facilities are open throughout the day and night. Medical professionals, doctors, nurses, and paramedic staff work round the clock. Unrestricted access to every part of healthcare institutions has made healthcare professionals susceptible to violence. Patients of relatives in anguish are quick to attribute untoward results to the negligence of medical professionals. Such allegations are immediately followed by violence against medical professionals. In May 2024, two on-duty doctors were allegedly attacked by relatives of a patient who died during treatment in a hospital in West Bengal. In another incident in May 2024 in Bihar, following the death of a 25-year-old pregnant patient, a nurse was allegedly pushed off the first floor of the building by the kin of the patient. In August 2024, a final year resident in a hospital in Hyderabad was allegedly assaulted by a patient's attendants after the patient died due to medical conditions. These incidents of violence are a few among the many that have been unleashed against members of the medical community in the recent past. They are portents of a systemic failure to protect doctors, nurses, and paramedical staff in the confines of hospitals. With few or no protective systems to ensure their safety, medical professionals have become vulnerable to violence. With the involvement of systemic issues for healthcare across the nation, this court has had to intervene. Women are at particular risk of sexual and non-sexual violence in these settings. Due to ingrained patriarchal attitudes and biases, relatives of patients are more likely to challenge women medical professionals. In addition to this, female medical professionals also face different forms of sexual violence at the workplace by colleagues, seniors, and persons in authority. Sexual violence has had its origins even within the institution, the case of Aruna Shanbag being a case in point. There is a hierarchy within medical colleges, and the career advancement and academic degrees of young professionals are capable of being affected by those in the upper echelons. The lack of institutional safety norms at medical establishments against both violence and sexual violence against medical professionals is a matter of serious concern. While gendered violence is the source of more malevolent manifestations of the structural deficiencies in public health institutions, the lack of safety is of concern to all medical professionals. Preserving safe conditions of work is central to realizing equality of opportunity to every working professional. This is not just a matter of protecting doctors. Their safety and well-being as health providers is a matter of national interest. As more and more women join the workforce in cutting-edge areas of knowledge and science, the nation has a vital stake in ensuring safe and dignified conditions of work. The constitutional value of equality demands nothing else and will not brook compromises on the health, well-being, and safety of those who provide healthcare to others. The nation cannot await another rape or murder for real changes on the ground. Several states, such as Maharashtra, Kerala, Karnataka, Telangana, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu, have enacted legislation to protect healthcare service professionals from violence and damage to property. All these enactments prohibit any act of violence against medical professionals. The offense is non-bailable and punishable with 3 years of imprisonment. However, these enactments do not address the institutional and systemic causes that underlie the problem, and enhanced punishment without improving institutional safety standards falls short of addressing the problem effectively. We have attempted to flag here the ground reality indicating the lack of institutional safety standards in healthcare institutions. A non-exhaustive formulation is set out below. A. Medical professionals who are posted for night duties are not provided adequate resting spaces. More often, doctors rest in the patient's room or in available public spaces. Duty rooms are scant. Separate duty rooms for male and female medical professionals are conspicuous by their absence in most healthcare establishments. B. Interns, residents, and senior residents are made to perform 36-hour shifts in conditions where even basic needs of sanitation, nutrition, hygiene, and rest are lacking. There is an absence of uniformity in terms of a standard national protocol. The fear of retribution prevents most healthcare professionals from questioning the absence of facilities for basic well-being. C. Lack of security personnel in medical care units is more of a norm than an exception. More often than not, medical professionals, which includes young resident doctors, interns, and nurses, are left to handle unruly attenders. Open access to healthcare facilities leaves medical professionals vulnerable to undesirable elements. D. Medical care facilities do not have sufficient toilet facilities. Most often, there is only one common toilet for medical professionals in one department. E. The hostels or places of stay for medical professionals are situated far from the hospital. Doctors and nurses who have to travel to and from the hospital are not provided transport facilities by the institution. Even within the precincts of the sprawling spaces of public hospitals, there is either inadequate or no transportation facilities for the safe commute of professionals. F. There is an absence or lack of properly functioning CCTV cameras to monitor ingress and egress to the hospital and to control access to sensitive areas. G. The patients and their attenders have unrestricted access to all places within the hospital, including intensive care units and the doctor's resting rooms. H. Lack of screening for arms and weapons at the entrance of hospitals. I. Dingy and ill-lit places within the hospitals. J. Medical professionals have to shoulder the responsibility of being both medical and emotional caregivers to patients and their relatives. There are no supportive facilities and no training and communication skills. And K. Certain spaces within hospitals, such as the intensive care unit and the emergency wards, are prone to a greater risk of violence because of the severity of medical conditions of patients in these departments. We have, in this backdrop, formed the view that a national consensus must be evolved after due consultation with all stakeholders on the urgent need to formulate protocols governing the issues which this order has highlighted. We have attempted to compose for this purpose a diverse body of persons with experience in healthcare institutions. A national task force with the following members of the medical profession is hence constituted. 1. Surgeon Vice Admiral Aarti Saryan, AVSM, VSM, Director General Medical Services, Navy. 2. Dr. D. Nageshwar Reddy, Chairman and Managing Director, Asian Institute of Gastroenterology and AIG Hospitals, Hyderabad. 3. Dr. M. Srinivas, Director, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS, Delhi. 4. Dr. Pratima Murthy, Director, National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, Bangalore. E. Dr. Govardhan Dutt Puri, Executive Director, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Jodhpur. 5. 6. Dr. Soumitra Rawat, Chairperson, Institute of Surgical Gastroenterology, GI and HPB oncosurgery and liver transplantation, and member Board of Management, Sir Gangaram Hospital, New Delhi, and member Court of Examiners of the Royal College of Surgeons, England. 8. Professor Anita Saxena, Vice Chancellor, Pandit B.D. Sharma Medical University, Rohtak, formerly Dean of Academics, Chief Cardiothoracic Center and Head Cardiology Department at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Delhi. 9. Dr. Pallavi Saple, Dean, Grant Medical College and Sir J.J. Group of Hospitals, Mumbai. And 10. Dr. Padma Srivastav, former professor at the Department of Neurology, AIIMS, Delhi, currently serving as the chairperson of neurology at Paras Health, Gurugram. The following shall be the ex officio members of the NTF. A, the Cabinet Secretary to the Government of India. B, the Home Secretary to the Government of India. C, the Secretary, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. D, Chairperson of the National Medical Commission. And E, President of the National Board of Examinations. The NTF shall formulate effective recommendations to remedy the issues of concern pertaining to safety, working conditions, and well-being of medical professionals and other cognate matters highlighted in the above segments of this order. The NTF shall, while doing so, consider the following aspects to prepare an action plan. The action plan may be categorized under two heads. 1, preventing violence, including gender-based violence against medical professionals, and 2, providing an enforceable national protocol for dignified and safe working conditions for interns, residents, senior residents, doctors, nurses, and all medical professionals. 1. Prevention of violence against medical professionals and providing safe working conditions. A. Ensuring due security in medical establishments. 1. Triaging departments and places within the hospital based on the degree of volatility and the possibility of violence. Areas such as emergency rooms and intensive care units are prone to a greater degree of violence and may possibly need additional security in place to deal with any untoward incident. 2. A baggage and person screening system at every entrance of the hospital to ensure that arms are not carried inside the medical establishment. 3. Preventing intoxicated persons from entering the premises of the medical establishment unless they are patients. And 4. Training security personnel employed at hospitals to manage crowds and grieving persons. B. Infrastructural development. 1. Provision of separate resting rooms and duty rooms in each department for A. Male doctors, B. Female doctors, C. Male nurses, D. Female nurses, and E. A gender-neutral common resting space. The room must be well ventilated, have sufficient bed spaces, and provide a facility for drinking water. Access to these rooms must be restricted through installation of security devices. 2. Adopting appropriate technological intervention to regulate access to critical and sensitive areas, including through the use of biometric and facial recognition. 3. Ensuring adequate lighting at all places in the hospital, and if it is a hospital attached to a medical college, all places within the campus. 4. Installation of CCTV cameras at all entrance and exit points of the hospitals and the corridors leading up to all patient rooms. And 5. If the hostels or rooms of the medical professionals are away from the hospital, provision of transport between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. for those who wish to travel to or from their place of stay to the hospital. C. Employment of social workers trained in grief and crisis counseling at all medical establishments. D. Conducting workshops for all employees of medical establishments, including doctors, nurses, and helpers, on handling grief and crisis. E. Constitution of employee safety committees composed of doctors, interns, residents, and nurses at every medical establishment to conduct quarterly audits on institutional safety measures. F. Including additional requirements on institutional safety measures for medical professionals as a criteria for accreditation of healthcare establishments by the National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers. And G. The possibility of establishing police posts in medical facilities commensurate with the footfall, bed strength, and facilities. 2. Prevention of sexual violence against medical professionals. A. The Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013 applies to hospitals and nursing homes, including private healthcare providers. In terms of the provisions of the Act, an internal complaints committee must be constituted in all hospitals and nursing homes. B. The duties of an employer listed under Section 19 of the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013 which includes organizing sensitization programs and providing a safe working space, must be discharged. And C, ensuring for every medical institution a helpline number for medical professionals, which is open 24/7, and emergency distress facilities. It is clarified that the phrase medical professionals used in this judgment encompasses every medical professional, including doctors, medical students who are undergoing their compulsory rotating medical internship as a part of the MBBS cohort, resident doctors and senior resident doctors and nurses, including those who are nursing interns. The phrases medical establishments, hospital, medical institutions are interchangeably used. The NTF shall be at liberty to make recommendation on all aspects of the action plan highlighted above and any other aspects which the members seek to cover. They are at liberty to make additional suggestions where appropriate. The NTF shall also suggest appropriate timelines by which the recommendations could be implemented based on the existing facilities in hospitals. The NTF is required to consult all stakeholders. Bearing in mind the gravity and urgency of the situation, we have included the heads of the National Medical Commission and the National Board of Examinations as ex officio members of the NTF. Bearing in mind the national concerns which have been raised over the issue and the high priority which must be given to the creation of safe working conditions in healthcare institutions, we request the Cabinet Secretary to the Union Government to associate with the work of the NTF. The Home Secretary of the Union Government has also been made a member of the NTF in order to facilitate proper coordination with the state governments. The Secretary to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare of the Government of India will be the member secretary of the NTF. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare will provide all logistical support, including making arrangements for travel, stay, and secretarial assistance, and bear the expenses of the members of the NTF. The NTF is requested to submit an interim report within 3 weeks and the final report within 2 months from the date of this order. All state governments and union territory governments, through their secretaries in the Ministries of Health and Family Welfare, and the central government, through the Secretary Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, must collate information from all hospitals run by the state and by the central government, respectively, on the following aspects. A, how many security personnel are employed at each hospital and each department? B, whether there is a baggage and person screening mechanism in place at the entrance of the medical establishment. C, the total number of resting stroke duty rooms in the hospital and specific details of the number in each department. D, the facilities provided in the resting stroke duty rooms. E, information on whether all areas of the hospital are accessible to the general public, and if so, with or without any security restrictions. F, whether there are CCTV cameras in the hospital. If there are, how many and in which locations? G, whether the institution provides medical professionals training to appropriately handle the grief of patients. If so, the details of the training must be provided. H, whether social workers who specialize in handling grief of families of the patients are employed at the hospital. If so, then total number of social workers must be provided. I, whether there are police outposts within the premises of the hospital or the medical college hospital campus. J, whether an internal complaints committee in terms of the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013 has been constituted. And K, whether the employer of the establishment has discharged the duties prescribed by Section 19 of the Act of 2013. If so, the details of it. The data submitted shall be tabulated and filed with an affidavit by the Union Government within 1 month from this order. The Central Bureau of Investigation shall submit a status report to this court by, we'll say 22nd and not 23rd, by 22nd August 2024 on the progress in the investigation of the crime at RG Kar Medical College Hospital. The state of West Bengal shall also file a status report by 22 August 2024 on the progress of the investigation on the acts of vandalism which took place at the hospital in the aftermath of the incident. The matter will now be listed on 22 August 2020.
Not only one request. What is shared by the state of West Bengal with your lordships be given to CBI. Lord, we also need, Lord, have it. Lord, they cannot have any objection.
1 second, I can just say, when that is.
But what is shared by...
Milord, can I just add one thing, Milord?
Only what is shared
Principal of the college, is he now under suspension? Is he on long leave? What's that?
He's on leave. He's on leave. High Court order. High Court order is Millard's operative. He's on leave. He's on leave. There's an SIT constituted also
Millard,
for all kinds of things.
Millard, can I,
Lords, I would,
Anywhere, right?
No.
Millard, can I add one
That's
thing?
why I said, Millard, whatever your lordship says, we'll abide by it. That's not an option.
whatever is shared,
My-
with your lordships, Lord, the CBI must be
Yes.
given.
No, we will file an affidavit.
But you have shared something with the
One
court, so you
second.
can't
No,
have
no,
any
no.
objection.
At not this point, Millard. In fact, what
No,
is
I am
happened-
on that point
What
first.
happens is, Millard, this goes to them, then the social media takes action. It'll
No,
exacerbate the
CBI
situation. It is only to inform your lordships, Millard, that what's in the social media is not correct and what's happening is just contrary
Then
to
why
what the
can't you
record is.
share with
For
CBI?
example, they say it's a suicide. It is not a suicide. We never said.
Hinted.
We will, but Mr. Sibal, there was undoubtedly an unexplained delay.
I am not on merit.
Yes, Lord.
I am not on
What
that.
is to hide from CBI?
Millard, one
Lord, this-
second.
This shows we are
One
not
second,
getting
I
cooperation.
am not on that, Millard, as I said, whatever needs to be done must be done. People must be convicted. There is no issue on that. It's just that I don't want, Millard, another kind of tirade in the social media.
No, it
Millard,
will not be. You give it to
will be, it will
CBI.
be.
You
I
have
know
subjects
it.
to give it to CBI.
One more thing. The state must ensure that those who practiced acts of vandalism and
Absolutely.
Yes,
We have
absolutely.
lodged
37.
37 already arrested, 50 FIRs filed. 37 already arrested.
50 FIR for one incident. It's a recipe for not investigating.
You have, one second, you have a copy of the, before we part to the matter for today, you have a copy of the autopsy report here?
Yes.
We have it. We have it.
I have.
We hand it over. Yes.
Millard, in the meantime,
Lord,
can I add
would,
one
my Lord,
thing?
again request, my Lord, if your lordships have seen something your lordships have, Lord, the CBI must be given. It will remain, my Lord, confidential. But we must cross-check what is given to
Lord,
you.
your lordship,
This, the resistance shows that there is a lack of
No,
cooperation.
obviously there is a lack of faith.
Let me
Lord, your
do
lordship,
that on that day, Mr.
only 1 second, my lord.
Day after tomorrow.
Give
My Lord,
the entire thing.
today, my Lord, they can give me today. My joint director is here. I'll give it to her.
Oh, yeah. Allow it, yeah. Just allow. Yes. Yeah, yes. Now, my
What
lord,
is there to hide from
one
CBI?
second,
my
one
Lord?
second.
If they have given
Nothing is-
something related to crimes,
Yeah.
it must be given, my Lord.